Well, good evening. I thought you'd bring. I thought I'd bring you along on my journey here. I'm just putting up some of my favorite photos on the wall here. I'm kind of tired of looking at the back wall here. It looks kind of boring, so I thought I'd make the world's most expensive wallpaper out of HP photo paper and some of my favorite prints. But I thought you'd bring me along and we can talk a little bit about music while I dangerously go on top of my desk here and stick photos on the wall. So, first things first, we gotta get this mic out of the way. Funny story about this mic. This mic stand really is, I tried everywhere to find this mic stand. I couldn't. I usually get my stuff from Thomann in Germany, but right when that happened, Brexit happened, and then it was such a nightmare in 2020 getting really good mic stands, because this thing's amazing, right? You can bring it up, you can bring it down, you can do whatever. It's really quite a fantastic piece of kit, and it's really been quite legendary for me making the podcast and all the other things that I do. It's really been life-changing, because I find the ones that attach to the desk very limiting in their utility. If you have a larger desk, they have to clamp onto something. It can be quite tough, so I decided to go for something that holds musical instruments, something that's going to hold something that's got a counterweight on one side. I can wheel it around, I can put it above my head so it's not bothering me. Right now I'm having to go across the desk, so I'm just gonna put it over there. How great is that? So at the moment I'm thinking we've got the collage effect right now. What I figured out is my room has it's wider on one side than the other, so I can't do it symmetrically. So we're gonna reorganize this side a little bit. We're gonna think it through. But while we're thinking it through, we can talk a little bit about music, about some of my favorite music. And first things first, gotta get the vibe right. We're gonna go with I believe this is. What is this? This is my last one of this. We'll save it for a special occasion. And we'll go with the White Sage. We'll go with the Tribal Soul. White Sage. I really like this one at the moment. I'm not a very spiritual person. You won't find me doing any cacao ceremonies. And you won't find me doing, microdosing mushrooms or anything, but incense, I kind of get behind that. Yeah. I find incense is just one of those things that seems to work well for me. I apologize for my desk in advance. My desk is very unusually dirty because I'm having to move things around so I can get up there, and so for now it is what it is. I don't really know what it is about incense that's so, I don't know. I think setting the right vibe is so important for a lot of creative things. I'm not a particularly spiritual person at all. I'm not religious. I'm very analytical. I'm a coder. I'm a programmer. I run a company in artificial intelligence, and so usually I'm quite scientific about stuff. But when it comes to music and when it comes to doing creative stuff, I find this really sort of helps to have the right environment for that. It's a different environment, of course, for anything that you do. I think it's highly personal as well. I always laugh when I hear people say this is the way you should do something in a creative space, because it's highly subjective. Highly subjective. It's not like accounting or building a fast race car or anything in that nature. It's highly subjective. There's no right way to make music. There's no right way to paint a painting. So it's important. And we won't put you on my desk, we'll put you up here. There we go. Great. You just stay right there. Right, I think first up, I want to finish this right-hand section up here. I got this gorgeous photo from a place near me, Little Horton, and this is a really great. I love this picture. Very green, very unusual for this time of year that I took it in December. And there's a great video on my Instagram. I took loads of short videos and kind of stitched it together. This was in the same spot, and I don't know. I love nature, and I love the way that I love the way that it comes out on photographs. It's just the best. Totally the best. So we'll stick this on there. I'm using blue tack, which is probably it's probably not the best way to do it, but it's the way I'm going to do it. I'm sure someone will say, oh, you should use command strips, oh, you should do this, oh, you should do that. Yeah. It's a lot of command strips, man. I ain't got money for that. Blue tack is great. And it's cheap. And it works. And when I want to take it off, the blue tack will come off. Maybe it'll pull the paint off with it, but at least it'll come off. And that's what matters. Being able to reverse things is important. And I may have to reverse this. You just never know. But, this is going to look good. We're going to put it, I think we're going to put it either up here, or maybe I'll see if it'll fit up in that corner up there. I'll create a spot for myself. We'll go up here. Now, just as a disclaimer, I built this desk. This desk has 3 massive brackets on it, holding it into the wall and the floor. Each bracket can hold 300 kilograms each, for a total of 900 kilograms. Now, you may be looking at me and going, wow, I obviously weigh a great deal of weight, but I don't weigh anywhere near 900 kilograms, and me plus the desk plus all the things on it aren't anywhere close to 900 kilograms, so we should be fine. And you will see the desk flexing. That's because it's made of wood. Okay, great. We've had this chat. So, I'm gonna go up here and, I've been listening to a lot of different music lately. And one of the really cool things about listening to different kinds of music is it really opens your mind, I think, to a lot of new avenues. And now that I've got up there, you may have seen this isn't going to fit exactly right. I don't mind a little bit of overlap. I really don't. But I think with this edge, I want to come down with a portrait picture. Not in terms of a portrait of a human, but a portrait in terms of angle. I think that should work great. What about this gorgeous geometric photo from London? This was a really, really nice one. And I'm really digging the sort of like... Well, anyone that's seen my photos knows that I like stuff. Pictures of geometrical stuff. You know, busted up buildings. Anything that looks kind of cool, I'll take a photo of it. Or at least I'll try. Some things are just hard to take a photo of, man. It looks good when you see it with your eyes, but then when you hit the shutter, it looks like shit. You know? And that's just my inexperience. That's my inexperience talking. You know, I'm not a photographer by any means. I'm just a guy with a camera. A camera that's far too expensive. I am that guy. You know, all the gear, no idea. That is 100% me and my life. You know, if anyone said, "Hey, Jordan, you're that guy with all the fucking gear and no idea," I'd be like, "Yep, that is exactly me. That is 100% me." But the greatest thing about having gear and no idea is that you learn. You learn fast. And I'm learning fast, man. One of my greatest strengths is being a fast learner. And while I have this far too expensive camera that, quite honestly, is really funny because I use some of the cheapest, shittiest vintage lenses on this really expensive camera, but I'm learning lots and I'm making content better. I'm liking the, you know, the wideness of this. I got my I think it's my Super Takamar 28mm lens on there. You'll notice it's not autofocusing or anything like that, like my Sigma 1 was in the last video, but it allows me to go super wide, and I love that. I can go, look at me, I'm out here. What's up next? I'm thinking another portrait one. I want to calm down with it for sure. See if we can find another one here that I like. I've printed so many. Ooh, this one's nice. When I was in Dunkirk, I went to a beautiful church, and there was I don't know, the contrast, the history. I could not take a photo, and this was tough. This is my old camera. My old camera did not handle ISO, you know, dark shots as well as my new one does. So this is a tough shot to take, really. Well, we got her done. Loved that old camera, the Sony a6000. Now I'm on the A7C2 compact full frame, whatever that means. But it's nice. I can do 4K video with this one. I can do whatever I like. I can plug in my own mic to this one, which is why I sound so good. Otherwise, it would sound like fucking trash. And you know me, I gotta have, you know, tip-top sound quality. I wouldn't have made it this far in the podcasting world without a half-decent fucking sound quality. You know? So it's all about that. It's all about that. I was recently listening to, you may or may not have noticed, I was recently listening to Chris Stussy's brand new release, Desire, and it's a really fucking good tune. It's a real smash. That track, Desire, I think is one of his best tunes. I think it's gonna be a future classic. I just can't stop listening to it. It's really good. It's really strong. And it's a track that he said is usually what he uses to finish off his sets. So it's obviously been beloved and he's just released it. Apparently he made it when he was, I think, stuck in a hotel overnight or something. Like his flight got cancelled or a gig got cancelled or something. And the fact that he just made it on his laptop in a room and it sounds that good. I mean, you gotta love stories like that. And that's a recurring theme that I see with a lot of artists, which is, they'll just make a song in 2 days. And it's like, boom, it's a proper track. And some people spend like years of their life making an EP, and they never finish it. It's like a lifelong project. And some people, they just go, right, that's it, I'm done it. People's different creative processes, but I wish I could do that. I really do. So I think this next one is gonna go like this, like that. Right, so what we'll do is we'll take these down just real quick. I really like Chris Stussy. He's one of my favorite artists, one of my biggest inspirations in music. His music is not only good, but it's consistently good, which is so difficult. That's the hardest thing to do, consistency. And he's been around music for a long time. Longer than me, longer than a lot of these guys. And that's something that people don't understand about this industry. You can get people that get pretty big for a short while, but the guys that are big now, they've been in the game a lot longer than people think, and they'll be around for a lot longer than a lot of these other guys. So just sticking around and just hanging in there, there's a lot to be said about doing that. A whole great deal to be said about doing that. It really pays off, just being around, being visible. Because people drop off, man. They get tired of it. They don't want to do the grind. They don't want to stick with it. It's an investment of your time, of your energy, and of your money, Fun fact, I've not made a single cent from the podcast after doing it for 6 years, and happily so. I will happily never make money from that because it's a passion project for me. And people always ask me, they're like, podcast, big podcast, 250,000 listeners. Why don't you make any money from it? Well, I'm like, what, turn ads on? Why the fuck would I want to turn ads on? Ads suck. The whole point of ads is to fucking annoy you and sell you shit. Could you really imagine like me doing a side A? Oh, introducing, I don't know, Chris Stussy. Brought to you by fucking Lucasade. Or Huel. Or, God forbid, fucking Raid Shadow Legends. Come on. Talk about like a fall from grace, that would be for me. And plus, I listen to my own podcast. I like listening to that kind of music, so I'll listen to side Bs. It would just kill me. It would kill me on the inside to hear that shit, man. It really would. And sure, there's probably ways to... There's probably ways to do that. And it to not come across like an ad, Maybe I could do promotional things. But I already spend so much time on the podcast. And I really like where it's at the moment. The quality, the level of music, the level of production is getting better. I don't know, it's just one more thing to start monetizing it in some way. I don't know. I'm just downloading here. Holy shit, is that the time? 20 to 1. I do have a day job as well. So... yeah. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with these angles, man. These angles are gonna fuck me over. Big time. Yeah, the angles are gonna mess me up. I'm not too sure on it, man. I'm not too sure. I might have to defer to someone watching. You know, because I could... You know, I could, like... do something like that. You know, maybe there's a portrait one that would work better with. You know, if it was portrait like that, you can kind of see what it is. You know, I could come in the corner there and do... and just shoot straight across a lot of these. It's an option. Yeah, it's a thought. I mean, it's definitely a thought. I don't know. I heard about featured a little while back, season 2. Guy called Joko, now known as Coulter. But I found out the reason why he's called Coulter now was because of a court case. I think something to do with his name. Couldn't use it anymore, which is super sad. He's built his entire brand on that name, Joko, right? Joko Cologne, Germany. And now he had to use something else. I mean, to be fair to him, he's done exceptionally well, even with the name Coulter. So, good for him, because, you know, to rebrand like that after using a name for so long, so difficult. Like, if I change my name, I mean, I'm nowhere near as big as someone like Coulter, but, dude, like, it would take serious effort. He was very smart, though. Like, even in the very early days, like, he would... not early days, but, like, when he was doing that transition, he'd put Joko and Coulter on the same track. People go, what's that? Then they check out Coulter, then they start to get into that flow, and they're like, oh, it's the same dude, it's just an FKA, formerly known as, for Joko now. So it was a smart way of transitioning over. I wonder if that they allowed him to do that in the court case or something, because a lot of the music is still up that's under the Joko name. So I wonder if that had something to do with it. Just gonna swap these over. I'm kind of feeling I want to do 2 portraits on this side as well. I think that's gonna work better. I've rearranged this shit about like 4 different times now. But I'm getting there now. I like the collage effect of this. I think it's gonna work a little better. Yeah, it's definitely gonna work. It's definitely gonna work a little better, I think. Yeah. Oh, my climbing skills are coming in handy. You know, talk to me a year ago, I would have been like, no, fuck this. I'm not doing this, but I actually don't feel too bad doing this in the moment. It feels pretty good. So, I got my computer playing music right now. I don't know if you can hear this. I've purposely put it quite low. 1, so you can understand me, but 2, I just can't deal with the fucking copyright shit. You know, on the latest episode, this is some good behind the scenes for you. On the latest episode, like, one of the reasons why it was so weird coming out, I mean, you might not notice it at all, but the release was so staggered for the YouTube because I got a crazy copyright, like, claim on my YouTube, and quite often I clear all the music so I don't end up with any issues, but man, this time on episode 9, it was a fucking nightmare. I mean, it really was an absolute nightmare. 2 tracks, I won't tell you which ones they are, but 2 tracks really caused me a bunch of issues, and it took me ages and a lot of fighting. I was slightly worried that I would have to re-record the show just to get it onto YouTube, which I was really pissed off about because the YouTube following is so small right now. Like, my following on Apple Podcasts is massive, so as long as that one works, I'm happy. But I want to grow the YouTube because it's a visual thing, right? It's cool. It's cool to do the visual thing. But that copyright strike, I mean, it didn't even, it didn't say, oh, we've, like, blocked it in, like, a couple of countries. It was like, no, we blocked it, like, YouTube-wide. No one can see this video. I'm like, dude, like, 2 tracks have, like, prevented the entire fucking 2.5-hour long podcast from running. And bear in mind, it takes so long to render. On DaVinci Resolve, like, it took me 2.5 hours to render because my computer, although everything looks really really advanced here, my computer is like from 2018, so it's not the best. And then when you send it to YouTube for it to render it up to 4K, it took like 8 hours or something. So you're waiting like a shitload of time for them to just say, oh, by the way, it's blocked in, everywhere, and there's nothing you can do to fix it. So I've just been super scared of touching the video now that it's up. It's not even part of the fucking podcast playlist on YouTube because I'm worried that they're just gonna say, no, you can't fucking do that. So the podcast playlist on YouTube has everything, episode 8 and upwards, but it doesn't have anything from episode 9 with Huxley, which is a real shame because I really liked the latest episode. I think it's really solid, and I love the side B. It's so weird, it's so different, and I think it's just a really overall strong episode. I'm really digging it at the moment, and it's just a shame that shit like that happens because, and we're seeing it on TikTok too with United Music Group taking off all their tracks from TikTok, and you just gotta think, like, as an artist, I understand. I'm a creative person too. I don't want people stealing my shit and not getting paid enough money for it, but let's be honest, in this day and age, the money is in the events. The money is not in the music sales anymore. That's over. The industry today is you make a track good enough for it to go viral. When you get that virality, then the events come, and the events is where you make the money because people are paying for tickets, and they're paying for merch, and they're paying for all this stuff. They're way more willing to pay that than suckers like me paying TrackSource or Beatport or Bandcamp or Bleep or whatever it is for the privilege to download MP3s. I'm an archaic force that still buys music, right? But I buy music, 1, to support the artist, and 2, so I can DJ with it. And that's just not the majority of people. Majority of people get their music from YouTube, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music. They don't pay much at all per view. That's just the way it is. But if you get that virality, then you can do events, and with events, that's how you make the big money, man. That's how you make the big money. So it's an event-driven society now with a lot of these artists, and it's tough out here, man, for events, for sure. I've been wanting to do more events, but it's just like so time consuming to get into that mindset to like shill yourself to get events done. It's it's like a full-time job basically. If you wanted to boil it down, it's a full-time job. You gotta market yourself. You gotta practice. You gotta work in the booth. There's so much you have to do these days to really make it as an artist, especially in, you know, house music, electronic music, because it's so commoditized. Everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing something. Everyone releases mixes, you know. So it's really important to differentiate yourself, right? It's the most important part. And I see lots of the same. And once you're big enough, you can do whatever you want. You know? You can do whatever you want. Which is cool. Which is cool. I don't find that interesting. But once you're big enough, you can pretty much rule the world, man. You can do whatever you like. Because you got the following already. Because once you get that following, and you stay true to yourself, you know, man, you can just run with it. You can run with it, and there's kind of nothing that can stop you at that point. You're kind of indestructible at that point. I want another portrait one to go right there. And I'm thinking maybe this one. My printer is printing a lot of these things really dark, so you'll see this one, I'm sure on the screen, will look like a black piece of paper. It's actually like a really old culvert. There's some water coming out of there. Maybe you can see this if I focus this in all the way. Maybe you can see that. Yeah. It's a great picture, but it's really like, it's really dark as it's come out the printer. I don't really know why. That's what I mean, like, I'm all, you know, all gear and no idea. I have no idea what the fuck's going on. I just take a few shots and see what happens. And with this printer stuff, right? And sure, I could get someone to print them for me, or I could, like, pay a company to print them all A4 size. It's so fucking expensive, though. It's so expensive. It's way cheaper to buy ink and photo paper if you have a printer. I just do that, especially when you're blowing them up this big. If you're making little ones, you know, whatever. But if you're making them A4 size, like, it costs a lot of money. You multiply that by an entire wall, you know. It'd be a lot. It'd be a lot. But I'm really happy with how it's turning out so far. You know, I'm on my 3rd or 4th day of doing this. You know, spare time every night, doing a few things and rearranging stuff. And we're getting there. We're getting there. I think this will be my last one for tonight. For 2 reasons. One, it is 5 to 1 in the morning, and I'm tired. I need to get up in the morning and be a leader. And number 2, I've run out of blue tack, so that's kind of the end for this process tonight. Anyways, so I'm gonna take this one down here. Yeah. I'm gonna put this one right there. That's beautiful, right there. And then this landscape one, I'll just hang on to. I think it needs a bit of thought on what the next move is. You know, whether I find a way to double up perfectly here and then I'll have to think about it. But I'm kind of done for now. I need some sleep. And I need to do some editing on this and put all the funky lights and equipment away. So thanks for hanging out. I quite enjoy doing this. It's kind of therapeutic for me, just to talk shit to you guys. And you get a little bit of an insight, I guess, if that's valuable to you, and what's going on here in the studio. So you guys have a great week, and I'll see you later.